There is a special type of intelligence that is rarely discussed. It is not taught in schools, and no one trains for it. But everyone experiences fear when confronted by it. It does not stand out and does not seek applause. It operates in the shadows, quietly, unnoticed, surgically, precisely. You know this type. You have seen it. A person who never raises their voice yet somehow commands the entire room. A woman who smiles politely, pulling the strings that no one notices. They speak rarely, but when they do, people listen. Not because they are loud, but because their words, their weapon, is dark intelligence. And once you understand it, the world will never be the same. For such a mind does not react. It observes. It does not plead. It strategically positions pieces. It does not fight. It quietly gets things done. Machiavelli admired intelligence, not for its brilliance, but for its danger, for its ability to dominate while remaining unnoticed. If you have always felt that you are different, not softer, but sharper, this message is for you. Because once you uncover this, you will never be ordinary again, and no one will tell you about it. Not in school, not in books, not in polite society. Because if people knew how dark intelligence truly works, they would fear you long before you did anything. You do not start with teaching. You begin with observation. At first, you are simply quiet. You observe more than you speak. You listen to people long enough to catch the cracks in their stories. You smile at jokes that are not funny, not because they amuse you, but because you are watching who craves approval. You are not cold yet, but you are already on your way. The world around you moves in madness. People fight for what does not matter. They defend lies to protect their egos. They speak loudly when they are afraid and pretend to be strong, crumbling inside. You see all of this, and gradually you begin to see the code behind the chaos. It all starts with one simple truth. People are predictable when they feel safe, and it is then that you quietly enter the game. You learn to ask the right questions, not to get answers, but to make people reveal their secrets. You give them silence and allow their discomfort to betray them. You let their emotions write their confessions, and while they consider you harmless, you gather information quietly, completely. Dark intelligence does not need noise. It operates in silence. It thrives where others feel too comfortable to defend themselves, and gradually your mind begins to change. You no longer see people as they try to appear. You see usefulness, weakness, leverage, risks. You see a liar before they speak, the insecure before they start boasting, the traitor before they betray. You become 5 seconds faster than everyone else, 5 steps ahead, because your mind is no longer emotional. It is that precise. This is a turning point, not when you become smarter, but when you stop being naive. You realize that what is true does not matter as much as what people believe. Trust becomes a tool. Most people deceive themselves and you. If you learn to manage their illusions, you can manage them. This is dark intelligence, not intelligence in the conventional sense, not charm, not hard work. It is control. Through perception, you begin to use words as weapons, thoughtfully, deliberately, without unnecessary words. You deliver the truth like poison, slowly, imperceptibly, and irreversibly. You stop defending yourself. You stop explaining your decisions. You stop reacting to disrespect, because now you know how to make people regret it without confrontation. You no longer play by their rules. You change the game to suit yourself. You never reveal all your thoughts. You do not share your goals. You do not show when you are hurt, because pain in your world is just additional data. You become different, not cold, not cruel, strategic. This is the stage that Machiavelli admired the most. A quiet metamorphosis, when a person stops trying to fit into a broken world and begins to change it. And the best part is, no one knows who you have become until it is too late. They think you are still harmless, still innocent, still just quiet. They do not understand that they have already fallen into your net, because you planned this for several months, perhaps years. And now you do not need power. You are power. Thus, dark intelligence is born, not in a flash of genius, but in long, quiet hours of observation, understanding, and creating a mind so dangerous that it does not need to announce itself. Welcome to the new version of yourself, a version that no longer chases anything, because now everything comes to you, and no one expects it. You have crossed a line. You have stopped trying to please. You have started listening more than speaking, and now you are not just smart. You are becoming dangerous. But what does that mean? This means that you have begun to develop traits that ordinary people fear, even if they cannot name them. Here are 5 key traits of a dangerously intelligent person. Each one is quiet. Each one is deadly. The first trait is emotional detachment. The first thing they notice about you is your calmness. You do not react as they expect. You do not flinch at insults. You do not give in under pressure, because you no longer submit to emotions. You have distanced yourself from them. You do not suppress feelings. You study them. Your anger becomes analysis. Your burden becomes strategy. Your fear becomes foresight. You do not allow emotions to dictate your actions. You allow them to reveal the emotional weaknesses of others. While they scream and panic, you sit in silence, calculating. This silence is not emptiness. It is the sound of a calculating mind. The second trait is surgical observation. You no longer look at people. You dissect them. You watch their hands when they speak, their eyes when they lie, their tone when they want something. You hear what is not said. You feel the shift in tension when someone is hiding something. They do not need to confess. You already know. This quality makes you unsettling to others. People sense that you see through them, and it frightens them because deep down, they understand that you can feel their weakness. Machiavelli once said that a promise made in the past was a necessity, and its violation is a necessity of the present. You understand this. You expect betrayal, so you watch for it before it even forms. The third trait is controlled presence. When you enter a room, you do not need to speak to be noticed. Your presence is intentional. Your silence is louder than the shout of most people. Why? Because you do not try to be interesting. You strive to be inscrutable. Dangerously intelligent people understand the power of mystery. You reveal just enough to spark curiosity, but never so much as to become predictable. People fear what they do not understand, and you give them just enough uncertainty to keep them on guard. You realize that power does not lie in being everywhere, but in being noticed when you are absent. You become rare, and rarity is power. The fourth trait is strategic speech. Most people talk to fill silence. You speak to implant ideas. Every word is a move. Every sentence is a signal. Using pauses, intonation, and questions as weapons, you do not persuade. You lead people to convince themselves. You speak with surgical precision to distract, to disarm, to influence. You know when to praise, you know when to remain silent, and you know that silence often carries more weight than argument. This makes you dangerous, because once you begin to speak, the conversation bends in your favor, not through force, but through unseen persuasion. The fifth trait is unwavering self-sufficiency. This is the final trait that breaks most people, but builds the dangerous ones. You no longer need anyone else. You do not need approval. You do not need recognition. You do not even need to be understood, because you have become your own source of self-esteem. And when a person has nothing left to prove, they become untouchable. People try to control others through guilt, shame, and obligations. But none of this affects you anymore. You have buried the old version of yourself, the one that begged for clarity, loyalty, or attachment. Now you move like a ghost. You appear when it is strategically necessary, and you disappear when it is time to make your absence felt. This makes you more powerful than any titles or weapons, because one who does not need anything cannot be manipulated by anything. These 5 traits do not make you human in the way others expect. They make you a force in a world of noise because they cannot explain why, but you evoke anxiety in them. This is dark intelligence, and you have only just begun. Dark intelligence means nothing if it is not applied. Power without action is simply a secret. So now we transition from observation to execution. You have developed these traits. You have sharpened the blade. Now it is time to use this weapon. Here is how to apply hidden intelligence in everyday life while remaining unnoticed. First, manage conversations without suppressing them. Most people strive to win in a conversation, while you lead, allowing others to speak and open up. Your goal is not to impress, but to gather information. Ask questions that seem simple but delve deeper. Why do you think that? How did you feel? What happened after that? These questions lower defenses, creating a sense that they are being seen. In reality, you are seeking levers of influence. Then you say enough to change their thinking without revealing your own. You are not participating in the conversation. You are managing it from within. Secondly, use silence as pressure. Most cannot stand silence and instead rush to fill it with justifications and apologies. But you wield silence as a weapon. If someone tries to manipulate you, remain silent. Let them drown in their own guilt. They expect resistance, and you give them silence, which feels like power because it is power. Pause before you speak. Look at people a little longer than necessary, allowing them to feel the weight of your gaze. This discomfort is control. You do not raise your voice. It is unnecessary. They feel your presence without sound. Thirdly, reflect their emotions and then redirect them. If someone is angry, match their energy. If they are unsure, show confidence. If they are proud, exhibit humility. Then turn the mirror back on them. Use their emotions to guide them. Redirect anger towards a third party. Offer false compliments to link their insecurity to your goals, and use pride to place them where you need them. Manipulation without force means you do not push people. You allow them to go where you want voluntarily, and they will think it was their idea. Fourth, reveal your intentions only after victory. Never announce your plans or motives. Let people misunderstand you and underestimate you. When the outcome is in your favor, reveal the truth calmly and coldly. They will realize too late that they were part of your strategy, and there is nothing more painful than the realization that they created their own defeat. This is power. This is the work of hidden intelligence. Fifth, never use emotional force. Many make this mistake, becoming emotional to feel better, attacking to prove a point. You act with cold calculation. If you need to distance yourself from someone, do it cleanly, without shouting, without public spectacle, without emotional residue. Just a quiet expulsion, a closed door without warning. If someone stands in your way, do not react immediately. Wait, gather, strike when it benefits you, not your ego. Because hidden intelligence is not revenge, it is calculated correction. Let your actions seem like universal corrections of mistakes, not personal grievances. Sixth, conceal your depth. Never show all of your mind. People respect intelligence but fear what they cannot understand. So give them 60%, enough to appear smart, but never enough to reveal your strategy. If they think they understand you, they feel safe. And when people feel safe, they become careless. That is when you make your move, the smartest move. Let them think they are smarter than you. Let them fall into the trap you built with their help. You do not need a throne to rule. You do not need status to win. Dark intelligence is quiet dominance, the ability to manage people, influence outcomes, and control the environment without being a visible source. This is what Machiavelli meant when he praised the fox over the lion. Anyone can roar, but the fox wins by knowing when to step and whom to bite when no one is watching. No, your mind is not just sharp. It is turned into a weapon, and they do not realize it until it is too late. The most dangerous arena is not war. It is not politics. It is relationships. Here, most people lose themselves, where they trade logic for emotion, where they plead, explain, and relinquish their power in the name of love, loyalty, or guilt. But when you act with dark intelligence, relationships cease to be emotional traps. They become structures of power. Each one is a battlefield where control is either gained or lost. You begin to see the game clearly. Every conversation is a negotiation. Every compliment a possible bribe. Every silence a signal. Most people reveal their intentions too early. They want to be loved. They want to be understood. So they disclose their fears, their pain, their stories, hoping to be accepted. You, however, remain in the shadows, not because you are cold, but because you are calculating. You allow others to speak first. Let them reveal their patterns. Let them wrap the rope around themselves without realizing you are handing it to them. You do not disclose your past. You do not explain your standards. You do not correct misunderstandings. The less they know, the less they can use, and yet you know everything about them. They do not realize how much they reveal when they speak. You notice the insecurity hidden in their sarcasm, the weakness behind their confidence, the hidden motive behind their kindness. And when people try to test you, you do not resist. You disappear. Because in your world, disrespect does not clash. It disqualifies. You understand what most will never grasp. Your silence intimidates more than your anger. They expect an argument, expect an emotional reaction, but when you disappear instead, they begin to wonder, to panic, to see you not as someone they can control, but as someone they have lost. This is the power of emotional distance. It makes you rare. It makes you unreachable. Soon, people start to change their behavior around you, not because you demand it, but because they feel your standards. They do not hear you. They feel that you are different. You do not seek to please. You do not try to fix them. You are unavailable in ways that others are not. And this mystery turns into control, not through fear, not through love, but through an unspoken understanding that you are not someone to be manipulated. People realize that attachment will not open doors to your world, that loyalty without strategy means nothing, that closeness is a privilege you can revoke at any moment. You do not punish with words. You do not punish with absence. Nothing frightens a manipulator more than the indifference of someone they could not harm. Dark intelligence does not make you heartless. It makes you precise. You do not build emotional attachments by default. You choose who sees you, and even then, you never allow them to see everything. This is what sets you apart from the rest. While others strive for recognition, you strive for clarity. They offer love to avoid being alone. You offer silence to expose their desperation. They demand answers. You offer calmness. And this calmness becomes frightening because it means you see through them and have decided they are not worth your response. Now you do not chase apologies. You do not prove your worth. You do not repeat your expectations. You simply disappear when the energy becomes false, and those who remain are forced to ask themselves why. That is when regret begins. You have never raised your voice. You have never explained yourself, but your absence says it all. This is how you gain power in relationships, not by controlling others, but by mastering yourself. You do not need attachment. You do not need approval. You do not even need to be understood because you have built something much more powerful. a presence that cannot be controlled, and a mind that no one dares to play with. And this is how you dominate in silence. Now something has changed in you. You do not react as you once did. You do not explain, do not argue, do not expend yourself. You have become calm yet unyielding, but not weak. This is what dark intelligence does. It turns you into a weapon that does not need to be drawn. You can enter a room and say nothing, and still draw every gaze. Not because of charm, not because of games, but because your presence is felt as unpredictable and unattainable. You do not need to dominate because you have already outgrown this game. People underestimate you. This is your favorite part. You have learned to wear masks when necessary, to speak multi-layered, and to leave no trace of your influence. You have become impenetrable, unshakable, unstoppable. This is the final form, not a loud genius and a public master, but a ghost in the system, moving pieces while others ask to explain the rules. You do not seek a place, you erase people. You do not need to win arguments. You win outcomes because true power does not manifest. It is felt. And you have become someone who does not need to be seen to be feared, someone who does not pursue but attracts, someone who does not react but observes, someone who does not break but endures as others crumble under the weight of your silence. You have stopped playing their game and started creating your own. This is what happens when the mind becomes cold, when observation turns into prediction, when emotions no longer govern you but are merely tools in your hands. It is not about becoming better. It is about being smarter than the system itself. Machiavelli would say that people are driven by two primary impulses, either love or fear. But the dark mind opens a third path for you, control without love and fear. They do not need to love you. They do not need to fear you. They just need to know you are watching, quietly, attentively, constantly. If you have made it this far, it means you are not just curious. You are ready to stop being predictable, ready to stop being a puppet, ready to become dangerously intelligent. So here is your next step. Take it and dive deeper into a world where power is silent and intelligence is deadly, because this is only the beginning.